Hey everyone, so sorry about the late video. I was supposed to post last Saturday and now it's been a week and it's this Saturday. So for this past week's topic, it was what does pride mean to you? And for me, pride has, pride celebrations in general have evolved over time for me. And the first pride that I went to was actually in Gainesville. I wasn't out before college, so my first Pride was we usually do it in October. So as a freshman, I was out as gay, and it was before I was out as trans. So Pride to me was my first time coming out, and I marched in the parade, and it felt really cool, and like I was something, and that I was marching with my best friends and hand in hand, and it felt like something, and that I was somebody. I was a person. Over time, Pride has evolved for me. Um, the next year, I was in Pride. My sophomore year in college, Pride became more of a going with friends thing, and a space and a time to celebrate. And over time, Pride has evolved into something where I can look back on the year and see how much I've grown, and kind of like a milestone and a time marker to see, um, where what have I done this year? How much further have I gone with my parents, and just how much have I grown as an individual and as a person, and how much have I learned about myself, and was I, true to myself all these moments. Um, Pride, my second Pride and my only other Pride I've been to is DC Pride, which was last summer. I missed it this, like, 2 weeks ago, because I was away. But that one was definitely awesome because even though I didn't march in the parade, it was definitely a very awesome experience because there were so many people from all over. Because DC is such a it's like a meeting place for so many different people from different states and countries, and it was a much bigger Pride. At this Pride actually was last summer. It was just so much awesome because because like there was a parade one day and then the next day was a festival, and at the festival for the first time I met trans people, um, and that was last summer was actually when I actually was out and before I transitioned with hormones, and it was the first time at the festival where I got to meet trans organizations. They were actually tabling like, oh wow, there's actually trans organizations, and being able to see a community in multiple communities uh, that I identified with. Even API communities were there. Like Aqua DC, Kush DC, like, and a lot of trans organizations were there tabling, and for the first time I could see that there was a visible community, and I really it definitely was every Pride I've been to has been I've discovered and explored more and more resources that are out there that I never was able were able to find. And so that got me linked to some API folks, some trans folks, and it was really awesome. Um, and Pride now, more and more has, from this past Gainesville Pride to this, from now on, Pride in Gainesville is definitely a time where, and space where we can mentor folks, because this past Pride, the mentor program at UF, we use it as a space to have our mentor-mentee reveal, because essentially it's like right after Creep Week, where the mentees in the program, the LGBT student program, uh, they get creeped by a mentor, and eventually they get to meet up with their mentor at the Pride Festival and Parade. And it's been really awesome because for this past Pride, um, I was able to meet up with my mentee, and it was a really cool experience because um, it was a space where a lot of freshmen and new transfer students were able to uh, have have fun with their cohort, but at the same time know that there's someone who has their back and supports them in a way. So it really solidified our family here at UF, our queer community. And so, as a Pride Mentor Program Director next year, I want to continue doing something along the lines of that, and have the mentor program um, meet up there and be able to march together if they want to again. So that definitely is a really, I feel, is a really touching and profound way that Pride has evolved for me in my college town. And overall, Pride, I feel like it's just a safe space most of the time, depending on who's there and what kind of organizations are there and what the atmosphere is like and what's set up. And um, it's just a way for me to grow. Um, it's not necessarily like the biggest event of the year for me, um, but it's a good, like I said, it's a good marker of how much I've grown. And Pride's not perfect. Not every Pride I've been to. I mean, I haven't gone to a lot, but um, it's not perfect. But it's definitely a it's a very needed event because, like any other community, we need to be able to celebrate and to be able to come together, um, especially all the good news that we've been hearing for marriage equality this year, this summer. It's a good way to remobilize and recharge, um, and it's not necessarily a political place, although it can be. It is a great place to uh, recognize our similarities, but also recognize that there are a lot of differences, and we should be more educated about each other because sometimes the trans community isn't very included, or even POC communities. So I think it's a great way to learn and educate ourselves as well, um, and also recognize that we're not all about, our community is not all about drag performances because I know a lot of times Pride is like, oh, drag shows and blah blah blah, and like almost naked people running around, and it's not about that. That's our culture, but that isn't just being able to educate our allies and point out that this is our culture and this is how we have fun, but this isn't like all there is to our community, and there's more to it, um, and that's what makes us strong. That those differences, and so yeah, that's what Pride means to me in a nutshell. Um, it's like almost 9 minutes, but yeah, sorry for the delay, but I'll be more on top of my videos, and hope everyone has a great weekend.